All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Maya? Okay.
I'm here.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Look at you. You made it to another episode of We Did That Shit podcast, where we talk about who did some shit, what we learned from shit, and how we got through some shit.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Bibbi. Podcast family, you are the shit, and we appreciate you. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you like our company, please subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor, and YouTube. You can also follow us on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. Hey, Maya.
Hey, girl.
What's up?
Before we get started, we need to introduce a special guest that we have with us. You heard us talk about him on several occasions. He's shown us love since we started the show. We've been on his show. He's a fellow podcaster, a blogger, former football star, let him tell it, a father, a husband, and an all-around great guy. We call each other podcast cousins. So without further ado, welcome Kyle from the 12 Kyle podcast to the show.
Hey.
What's up? I am very happy to be here. Oh my gosh, what a great intro. I need a copy of that and need to hand it to my wife so she'll recognize it.
All of the stuff you got going on,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
It is great to be here. This is obviously hands down one of my favorite podcasts. And I'm not just saying that just because you guys have me here, but it's truly an honor, and I'm glad you guys have me on it. I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be fun.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for blessing us with your company for this show. So, how was your week?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, because nobody ever asks how your week is. They always ask how your day was.
Right.
The week was pretty cool. I live here in Atlanta, so we had the Super Bowl here. So it was really, really cool having the Super Bowl in town. I think I can speak for the entire city when I say thank you for coming, but everybody please leave.
I know the traffic was crazy.
Yeah, traffic was crazy, and traffic's always crazy here. But when you add 1 million more people, visiting throughout the week, that makes it that much more adventurous, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. It was cool because we hadn't had a Super Bowl here in 19 years. So it was really the weather. We had a threat of snow like last Tuesday, but other than that, the weather was perfect. I didn't go to the Super Bowl, but kind of got a chance to hang out and kick it a little bit, and it was cool. It was cool. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to them having it back. So the week was good. Went by pretty fast. I finished the week. Me and the family, we went to go see our oldest son, Dion, who's in college at Alabama A&M University, and he went over on his band fraternity.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yes, Kappa Psi. So he is a member of the National Band Fraternity, Kappa Psi. So it was good seeing. We hadn't seen him since Christmas, so he's a sophomore there, and it was really funny just being back on a college campus and just seeing the whole fraternity life and stuff like that. So that was real cool. So yeah, it was a great week.
Nice. Congratulations to your son.
They about to kick you out the middle class. Kids in college and carrying on. You can't have that. Oh,
trying to make it happen.
That's what's up. How was your week?
My week. Let me see what I did this week, because again, I don't remember what I did on Monday. My week was cool. It was slow, fast but slow. So I didn't do anything really major. Going to see Avenelli. Yes, did he?
I'm just saying.
You didn't. Here's the thing.
I did. I said.
We talked about this.
And you didn't say you were getting tickets. The last time they came, we went together.
Can I talk? You asked me how my week was.
Right.
I was saying that I was going to see Avenelli. I was happy. You said out your mouth, oh, when they come to Philly, I'm going to go see them there. So I thought that meant well, you going on your own, and then I'm going on my own. That's what I thought. So that's why I went ahead and I just got tickets because that's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
But my week was good. I mean, thanks. Thank you. Thanks. My week was pretty good. How about you? How was your week?
I need glasses. And this is going to turn into a whole ordeal. I went to the eye doctor because, I'm about to go to law school and I'm going to need to read a lot more.
Mm.
And I used to be able to read for hours and hours and hours, and I just can't do it anymore. So I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And it's probably because I'm just lazy. But he was like, yeah, you need glasses, sooner rather than later. I'm going to write you this prescription. And so you know how I am, Maya, and I'm just then tried on 8,000 pair of glasses, and it is not looking good.
You got to wear glasses every day?
I don't need them to read, but I need that my right eye is like super over accommodating for the left, and it puts a strain on it. I feel it. I thought I was having some pressure problems or something, but it's not that. He said I'm okay. I just need to get those glasses on to give my eyes a rest, and that will take care of all the things that I'm feeling. So, me and Kimmy didn't plan the day of shopping to just try
go get glasses. Yeah.
To try on glasses all darn day.
You'll be fine. At least you cute. So I mean, not like saying that people with glasses ain't cute, but you cute. So glasses just is going to add to. It's just a necessity. That's what it is.
I'm trying to look intelligent anyway.
Men are attracted to women in glasses, but
I'm getting red glasses too, Kyle. I'm getting red glasses.
Get yourself a red dress with glasses.
Pulling us up on game. You pulling us up on game.
Get a red dress with red glasses and red shoes with a red bag.
There you go.
I like it.
There you go. Next thing you know, we're going to a wedding.
Right. I can't wait for that.
Oh, Maya, it's time for our Black History highlights.
It is. So, we are still in the month of February. It's Black History Month, one of my favorite times of the year. So this week, I'm highlighting the Reverend Florence Sparing Randolph.
Praise the
She
Lord.
was one of the first Black women ordained to preach and lead an African Methodist Episcopal Zion church.
Oh, okay.
Reverend Randolph used her position in the pulpit to call out racism, gender inequality, and other issues related to social reform. She was born in August 1866 in Charleston, South Carolina, moving north to New Jersey to work as a dressmaker in the late 1800s. Preaching became Randolph's true calling, and she sought to become ordained in the AMEZ church. The resistance from the bishops and church leaders was strong, but she was eventually ordained as a deacon in 1901 and as a church leader in 1903, where she also gained her license to preach. In 1925, Reverend Randolph was elected to lead Wallace Chapel's AMEZ church in Summit, New Jersey. She became known for her powerful lectures and sermons and famously preached that white people mistreating Black people across the nation went against the very root of Christianity. Reverend Randolph was the first Black woman to enroll in Drew University in New Jersey, and there is now an annual award named after her given to a Black female student who shows promise as a church leader and preacher. So bravo to you, Reverend Florence Sparing Randolph.
All right now. The AME Zion Church, that's Catherine, Candace, and Faith's denomination too.
Okay.
They belong, their dad is a pastor in that church. Yeah, and Catherine's going to be preaching soon enough.
Yeah, I thought that this was very interesting because especially in that time, but even now you have a lot of resistance for women in the pulpit. And so she fought against that and ultimately did what her true calling was. And so I thought that was very, very interesting when I read it.
I think that's really dope. I actually grew up in the AME church, and until you just said that, I was thinking, like, did we ever have any women come? I can't ever remember a woman coming to preach or anything like that. It was kind of, I don't want to say it was frowned upon, but it was just like, I don't think it was socially acceptable.
Right.
And that was in South Carolina where I grew up. So, wow, that's what's up. That's a great Black history fact right there.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, we know you grew up in South Carolina, but you a New Jerseyan. Don't be trying to get away from your roots, Bill. It's right around here, We are the bomb.
I
I know
was
Right.
born in
sometimes
New
I
Jersey.
talk
I
to
grew up in
people.
South Carolina.
That's right. That's
But you
right.
was born in New
You was
Jersey.
born in
Right.
New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah, so
That's
we claiming you right now.
exactly.
Shout out to Newark.
Yes.
Woo woo. Well, speaking of shout out to Newark,
Mm-hmm.
all right now, our boy done threw his hat in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm so excited. So, just like we introduced Kamala Harris, we are going to introduce Senator Cory Booker. Again, we are not trying to tell people who to vote for. We just want to encourage people to get to know the candidates because if you don't vote, it's a vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So get to know someone. So, Cory Booker was born on April 27th, 1969. He's going to be 50 this year, y'all. Cory Booker was raised in Harrington Park, Bergen County, he lives his life as a proud New Jerseyan. After graduating from Northern Valley Regional High School, Booker received his undergraduate degree from Stanford University, Ivy League, where he played on the football team. While at Stanford, he was also awarded a Rhodes Scholarship and went to study at the University of Oxford, where he received an honors degree in history. Booker then completed his education at Yale Law School, receiving his Juris Doctorate in 1997. After law school, Booker moved to Newark, where he still lives today, and started a nonprofit organization to provide legal services for low income families and help tenants take on slumlords, improve their living conditions, and stay in their homes. At the age of 29, Booker was elected to the Newark City Council from the city's Central Ward. In the 17 years since, Booker has worked tirelessly at the local and national levels to improve the lives of New Jerseyans and Americans. Starting in 2006, Booker proudly served as Newark's mayor for more than 7 years. During his tenure, the city entered its largest period of economic growth since the 1960s. In addition, overall crime declined and the quality of life for its residents improved due to initiatives such as more affordable housing, new green spaces and parks, increased educational opportunities, and more efficient city services. And I also want to add in here before we get to him being a senator, while he was mayor of Newark on April 13th, 2012, Cory Booker went home to find his neighbor's house on fire. He went in the house and carried his neighbor out, saved her life, and was treated for smoke inhalation on that day. I mean, if a hero don't need to be president, I don't know who does.
Right.
Facts.
On October 16th, 2013, Booker won a special election to represent New Jersey in the United States Senate. On November 4th, 2014, Senator Booker was reelected to a full 6-year term. As New Jersey's junior senator, Cory Booker has brought an innovative and bipartisan approach to tackling some of the most difficult problems facing New Jersey and our country. He has proven his steadfast commitment to standing up for what matters most to New Jerseyans. Booker has also emerged as a national leader in a congressional push for common sense criminal justice reform, advocating for front end sentencing reforms, pushing for banning of the juvenile solitary confinement in federal prisons, and spearheading legislation to make the hiring process fairer for formerly incarcerated people. Booker has also partnered with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to create a number of economic proposals, from increased small business investment to apprenticeship programs, with the hope of fostering greater economic mobility and opportunity for individual Americans. Cory Booker's parents were married for 49 years when his father passed in 2013. He does have an older brother. His name is Cory Booker Jr. He's 2 years older than him, and Cory considers him his third parent. Meet Cory Booker, everybody. He is running for president 2020.
Yes.
And I ain't telling you what to do, but he got my vote.
He got my vote too. I have seen what Cory Booker has done for New Jersey and how he brought Newark, how he brought so much money into Newark. interesting fact about Cory Booker as well is, he lived in the housing projects for about 7 years in Newark. So what I like about Cory Booker is he is for the people, about the people, and he actually gets down and dirty with the people. He's not one of them kind of people that's like, oh, I'm from here, and then they move away. He's actually still in the community. He lives in Washington now in like a basement apartment, but the time where he lived in the housing projects, and like you say, he still owns a home in Newark. So I really like that about Cory Booker. And for those of you out there who want to get to know a little bit more about Cory Booker and see how he was as a mayor in Newark, he has a docu-series it's on Netflix now. It's called Brick City. So get out there and watch that, and you can see a little bit more of who he is in that docu-series.
And Cory Booker, when he was living in the projects, he also did that trial where he lived off of food stamps for a month. He was trying to show the people in politics that people can't feed themselves for a whole month on the amount of food stamps that you give them. So yeah, shout out to Cory. What you think, Kyle? You don't have to tell people who you vote for.
Hey, I don't have to. I don't have to tell anybody who to vote for, but I can tell you who you shouldn't vote for.
Exactly.
ABT. Anybody but Trump.
I like that.
So yeah, I'm very familiar with Cory Booker. I think the young brother is very impressive. I think one of the things that always stood out to me about him is that he comes off as a man of the people. And I think working class citizens can relate to him. He's not some, rich tycoon that wants to just, get out there and just talk down to people. When people can identify with the struggle and see what you've done and see what you've become, you kind of set an example. It's very similar to, what former President Barack Obama did. So, if you elect a guy like Cory Booker, I think what happens is when you turn on the TV, that's somebody that you can be proud of.
Right.
Unlike today, when you turn on the TV, it's just a joke.
Right. Exactly.
Right. We out here looking like clowns.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
We are.
So yeah, he would definitely get my vote.
So I'm going to read this one snippet that's going to lead us into our topic, because today we are talking about growing pains and coming of age. So we're going to start with Mr. Booker's contribution. He called, said he couldn't be with us today. I'm just saying.
So they got me to fill in for him.
Right. You somebody. Okay. So Cory says, I remember in 1984, I was playing my first varsity football game as a sophomore in high school. It was opening day for Old Tappan, our biggest game against our rival, Democrats. My brother was a lineman and I was a wide receiver. On one play, I shot downfield on a post pattern. The quarterback met somebody, unloaded a bomb to me. I laid out for the pass, catching it right before it hit the ground, but the referee called it incomplete. To this day, I know I caught that pass. And at age 15, I was outraged at the injustice of the ref. I got up and began yelling at the official. But before I can get far into my tantrum, someone grabbed me from behind, dragged me back. It was my brother, and he lit into me with a rare ferocity of tone, telling me unequivocally that I was to never argue with an official. He dragged me back down the field, yelling at me about conduct, honor, and attitude. Even if I was right about the catch, I was dead wrong in how I was behaving. That was the first and last time I ever raised my voice, argued, or disrespected a referee, no matter how much I may have believed they got something wrong in my football career.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, get off me, boy.
Right.
Oh, man.
Deep. But it just shows the amount of reverence he has for his brother, So today we're going to talk about coming of age. And Kyle, I cannot wait.
Yes.
I cannot wait for your responses. So here's the first question. When did you realize there was a difference between boys and girls? And we're not talking anatomically, Even though sometimes for boys it's the same thing. If they like girls, they figure that anatomical thing first. But when did you realize there was a difference between boys and girls?
I think I was probably about 4 or 5. I remember whatever. Yeah. Hey, I mean, hey, this is a keep it real show. I'm gonna keep it real here. I think I was probably about 5. Uh, you know, when you're young like that, you just play. So you don't really think about, how you should be playing or what you should be playing. So I distinctly remember getting in trouble for pulling a girl's hair. And I didn't, nobody told me we weren't supposed to. We were standing in line, and I never forget. And I just pulled her hair, and she was like, "Ouch!" And she was, started to cry or whatever like that. And she was like, "Kyle pulled my hair," and I was like, because I didn't have any hair I had a little afro. I mean, I ain't got nothing for her to pull, but I think it was that moment that, and my teacher kind of pulled me to the side, like, "Look, you can't do that."
Right.
And, little boys at 4 or 5 years old, we just like to just run into each other and just crash into each other. And just, we're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive. So I remember my teacher, Miss Laura May. I don't know what her last name was, but we called her Miss Laura May. She pulled me to the side and she was like, "Look, you can't do that." So, yeah, that was the first time that I remember like a difference between boys and girls. The girl had long hair. And I just realized, like, you can't just rough girls up. It's not that type of program.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say 5.
Dang, you got a good ass memory. Let me just say that, because I was sitting here thinking, like, what was my first memory? That's like when people would be like, "You remember so and so," and I'm thinking, like, no, I was 2. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember.
I remember certain things. Now, my better half will tell you that I don't remember like that I was supposed to take the trash out, but I can tell you what
remember Laura May.
Yeah, I could exactly. I could tell you what the score was to the Giants game back in 1985. So it's just one of those things.
Right. I would say I think that when I first realized it was a difference between boys and girls, it was like when my brother came home from when he was born.
Okay.
Because I remember he was different than me. Like when you look at your mom changing the pamper, or, when we grew up a little bit and he was, going to the bathroom, standing up, and I was sitting down. And that was kind of like the time when I realized it was a difference between boys and girls when we're talking about anatomy. But when I realized that it was a difference between boys and girls, I was in the 2nd grade, Miss Tennant's class. I knew that. My sister, Miss Tennant, I think she died too. But
damn.
Rest in peace, Miss Tennant. No, because I was just thinking she died recently, because I think she was still teaching up until like a few years ago. But I remember a boy kicking me, because y'all are aggressive, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
A boy kicking me in the 2nd grade, and I looked at Miss Tennant like, I'm gonna beat his ass. Because I'm aggressive too at the time. Not in my life now, y'all. I'm not aggressive. Don't listen to the past shows. I'm not aggressive. But yeah, I remember feeling like, you kicked me, I'm gonna kick you, because my mom said when somebody hits you, you hit them back. And I was trying to chase him. He was running faster. I was trying to slam him. He wouldn't go. That type of thing. So it was like, well, this is a difference between boys and girls, because they're a little stronger than I am. That was the difference. Like, I couldn't rough him up the way that I felt like he roughed me up. So that was when I felt there was a difference.
Now, my story is nothing like that. Now, listening to your experience, Kyle, I'm thinking in my head, like, of all the people's hair you pulled the little punk girl, drama queen's hair. Because if you was in Camden, she'd have been beat you up before she even told the teacher. You know what I mean? Like, what? He was pulling my hair. Exactly. So had you been in Newark, it would have been a whole
totally different story.
Exactly. But I think, like, anatomically, I guess, I always knew that boys and girls were different. But I mean, I didn't start like liking boys, so I never did anything different. I didn't really start liking boys till high school. I was always like a tomboy and one of the boys. And when we used to have like parties, like little sleepovers and stuff like that, boys and girls came. My sister kind of knew like it wasn't normal. But that's just how it was. So I just thought, that's my girlfriend, that's my boyfriend. It just wasn't any difference to me. So I still operate sometimes in that naivete, that guys are different than us. But I remember one time, and this is a true story, and I'm still friends with the person today. So I was in the 10th grade, and this is back when long distance cost money.
Mhm.
So I was talking
It
to
still
this
costs money if you get a landline, but go ahead.
if I was talking to this boy, and school was about to let out, and I was like, oh well, I'll talk to you in about 2 weeks because I'm going to Virginia. I don't know how long we stay in this time, whatever, because I have a sister that grew up in Virginia. My grandma lived in Virginia, so we went like a few times a year to Virginia. And he was like, Virginia? And I said, yeah. I was like, I'll call you when I get back. And he was like, oh, that sounds nice. I would like to go, or something he said about like to go. So I just asked my mom, because like I said, boys and girls, it was just like no big deal. So I was like, my mom was like, well, how old is he? I was like, oh, he's 18. She was like, does he have a driver's license? And I said, do you have a driver's license? And he was like, yeah. And so my mom was like, oh, good. He can help me drive. So
Wow.
it was my mom and my great grandmother, me, my sister, him, and Marcus. Marcus was like 2 years old, Maya.
Mhm.
And so we get to Virginia, and we go to get our room because we always stayed in the hotel as long as they had a pool and all this other kind of stuff. Like me and Tisha had our routine. That's my sister. So we go. My mom was like, "Go ahead." And we had Marcus, me and Tisha. So I was like, "Well, come on." And he was looking at me like, "I'm going." And I was like,
Yeah.
this guy. You know what I mean? Like, what is wrong with this guy? So we go in the room. Me and Tisha hurry up, change our clothes, get our bathing suits on, get Marcus dressed and everything. And this dude is like taking products out his bag, putting them up on the dresser. We just looking at him
Wow.
like, what in the world is wrong with this guy? So we was like, come on. So we go out, play, whatever. Anyway, it's nighttime. It's time to go to bed. And
Play. Y'all was in the 10th grade. What do you mean play?
Hey, I was thinking the same thing.
You
You know what I
was gonna say
mean?
that.
Like we was out. We went to play.
We played. We was outside playing in the pool, whatever. We was outside swimming. So it was anyway. Fast forward. It's time to go to bed that night. So he comes back into the room like, I'm staying here, and I was like, yeah. Like I was like, it wasn't connected. So anyway, Tisha had gotten to bed with Marcus already, whatever. So I was like, get to bed. Like, what's the big deal? Whatever. So, oh my gosh, he starts touching me in the bed. I was like, oh, I don't do that.
Mm.
I was like, I don't do that.
Wow.
And we had a great time. And when we came back, I didn't see him for 7 years.
Damn.
Yeah, because what was you touching you in the bed for?
Oh, I don't know, but I was like, I don't do that. I don't what you trying to start or whatever. I don't do that. No, I wasn't fast. I don't. Mm-mm. So I guess he was confused, but like now I know that as
Yeah,
an
because you
adult.
got him in the bed with you. I mean,
Right.
how would you be confused?
And you was in the 10th grade. Like you mean we was outside playing. Now I told you
He
get in the bed. What you thought was going to happen?
was
So
going
he's
to
about to
sleep.
come
It was
up.
nighttime.
Right.
Like. All right. So I'm just saying, like, I was like, oh, wow. Like, people think I'm supposed to be doing this now. Like, it was too much. So that's what I definitely knew. There was a difference between boys and girls. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
I
props
was
to him
a
because
big
he
blue.
handled that a whole lot better than I would have.
What you going to do? Force
I,
me?
I was a little fresh, so I probably would have tried to push the limits a little bit. I mean, come on. But wait a minute, wait, real quick. Where was your mother?
My mom and Nana was at, they had a room to themselves, and then we had a room. Like, that's when we go down there. That's how we always do. Like,
And they let
And they
the
let him-
boy.
and this is what I'm saying. This is why I was always like naive, because when we had sleepovers, boys and girls came.
Oh, hell.
Like, we all slept in the living room, but like the boys slept over here, the girls slept over here. We played games. We did all kinds of stuff all the time.
Well, you know what it is too. I think your mother probably trusted you. My mom, I'm willing to bet. I love my mom to death. She wouldn't have done that for me because she wouldn't trust me. She knew her son.
Right. She knew you was a fast ass.
Exactly.
My mom must have knew I was Chrissy Snow, because I was like,
Oh,
what?
wow.
Yeah, I was like,
That's
oh my-
impressive.
I'm just saying, I was a late bloomer. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
That's all I'm
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Okay, here's the next one. Can you recall an experience in elementary school that structured what you believe or do today? Anything that you believe or do today?
That's me or Maya.
No, that's you, Kyle.
Oh, okay. When I was in elementary school, I used to watch just like any other kid in the 80s. I used to watch a lot of TV, and Saturday mornings we'd watch, cartoons or whatever like that. You get your little, you come in the room with your little drawers on, your little Superman underoos, and because my parents, they slept in per se, but so you watch TV, and so thinking about it now, you could be in front of the television probably for about 2 or 3 hours before your parents got up and started moving around, and maybe they left the house, maybe they left you there, but they knew that Saturday mornings you're going to be in front of the TV watching cartoons. And there was this program that used to come on, and it was a regional thing, because I know unless you're from South Carolina, you won't know what the hell I'm talking about. But there was this program called, it was a guy named Mr. Knows It. And so Mr. Knows It, he had these little, sayings or whatever. And it was this little cartoon that would come on. And at the end of the program, it was only like a 30-minute program, but at the end of the program, he would always say this one saying. And the saying that he said, it stuck with me. And it said, think positive, act positive, and you will become a positive person. And it's an affirmation, but it was something that I took at like the age of 7, and that always stuck with me. And that was like the one experience I think when I think back to childhood that, something that really, really stuck with me. And that experience kind of shaped my way of thinking, because I felt like, I didn't want to, not be positive about things, because what it taught me at that particular time was like, no matter what happens, there's something positive that you can take from everything that happens to you. And it was an early life lesson. And that was just like, it was something that, stuck with me. And I still believe that to this day. And I try to stay positive about everything.
That's a good one.
I was about to say, that's I got nothing for that.
Right. Exactly. I damn sure wasn't thinking about that when I was a kid. That stuck with me. Think positive. What was it again? Say it again.
Think positive, act positive, and you will become a positive person.
I need to adopt that in my life today.
Yes, and I mean, and again, it was affirmation that we got at the age. And like I said, I was probably about 6 or 7. That was it.
Well, go ahead, South Carolina with Mr. Nosy. I don't know if we had that. Only thing I remember what we had was Mr. Rogers, and he wasn't telling me to think positive. He was telling me to take my shoes off and put them on the corner.
Right.
Yeah, before you walk in the door. And I still do that to this day. I don't like walking around my house with shoes on. Thanks, Mr. Rogers. When I think back to when I was younger, something that I still believe or do today, I would definitely say it was not to curse around certain people.
Okay.
When me and my brother were young, we were walking down the street one day with our friends. And this wasn't elementary school. I think this was more so like middle school. I can't think of nothing from elementary school. So I'm going to just tell this story. We was walking down the street, right, with our friends. And when I say cussing, we was cussing. I'm a F-U-B. What you say, bitch? I mean, like we was letting the mother effers fly, And it was a woman walking behind us, unbeknownst to us, and she was walking behind us, and we was going in. We never turned around and seen her. Like, who was the bitch? I don't know, right? So we got home. And then maybe like the next day, we said bye to our friends. All right, see you tomorrow. All right, bitch, And then we went. and about the next day, or maybe like a day after, maybe like 2 days later, this woman that went to bingo with my grandmother, she told my grandmother, yeah, I was walking down the street and I seen your grandkids and they was cussing up a storm. And I mean, cursing, like mother effers and B's and SHITs and all kinds of stuff, right? No. Let me back up. Before she said that we were cursing, she said, I saw your grandkids. So my grandma was like, okay. And she was like, yeah. And they was cursing. And she said, well, what the motherfucker say?
Answer Sophie.
And she started telling all the stuff that we said. So, my grandma came home from bingo and she woke us up and she was like, yeah, I heard you was walking down the street cursing. And I was like, I started to say that mother effing lady is a liar. But I was like,
Lying.
right. I was like, she lying. And she was like, oh no, I know she ain't lying because I know you mother effers curse, right? And I'm thinking in my head the whole time, this why we curse, because you like, I know you mother effers curse, right? After that, that experience taught me be mindful when you're cursing in public. And it taught me not to curse around adults like that. So to this day, I curse in public, but if there's a lot of people around, I keep the cursing to a minimum or I say it real low. Like I'll say, yeah, I ain't going over there. And then I'll say, because these mother effers, so that always stuck with me. Like you never know who is around you. So be mindful what you do or what you say because somebody is always watching.
That's dope. That is dope. But why? How old were you again?
We had to be early middle school, probably like sixth grade.
Okay, I was about to say because that's about when at the time I started cussing.
I was probably cursing before that. I'm gonna be very honest.
I wasn't cussing before that. I wasn't cussing until I got to middle school. And it's funny. I rarely cuss on my podcast. And I cussed one time on my podcast. I think I said, I said, man, she get on my fucking nerves.
Right.
And,
and my dad, sound right coming from you.
And my dad heard the podcast and he called me. He was like, yeah, I was listening to your podcast today, son. He's like, I didn't know you curse. Like, Dad, I'm grown.
Right, because you don't as much as I curse, and I curse a lot. Mm-hmm. I try to be mindful of cursing on the show, and I don't curse around my mom. Like if I curse around my mom, I say, Mom, I gotta tell you this story, and I gotta say it the way that it, that it comes out. And she'll be like, all right, and then I'll curse. And then even after that, I feel like, damn, I just cursed.
And she does it every time. And her mom be like, Maya, say it. Like,
right.
But every time you're like, excuse me, Mom. Sorry, Mom. Hit Mom. Like, you curse.
You know what that is? That's respect. I same here. I don't curse in front of my mom. I just don't.
That's not my first language was cuss.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's
move over, damn it. I was in kindergarten was rough. They had no, I'm serious. Like they really had, because I was just cussing like regular. Like, what's that? Crayons and shit. Like just always. And what's funny is my dad doesn't cuss at all. And he always talks about how his father, he went to my grandpa's job or something, and he overheard his father say hell in a conversation, and he didn't know that my dad was there. And he was like, oh, sorry, son. Whatever. And I was just looking at him like, that's whack. And
that's
he's
so
always
whack.
Exactly. And he's always trying to tell me, about my cousin. And I just was like, and this, I don't mean no harm. And I'm really not trying to be disrespectful or nothing, but like, you knew my mom.
Right.
Right. Okay. So you knew my mom, and my mom raised me. So if you was really concerned about my cousin, you'd have did something about it back then. You know what I mean? Like,
ass.
Okay. Like Sophie. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. But yeah, so yeah. But I don't know. I remember that something I learned very, very young, and it's going the first grade, is if you impress the right people, you can go far. And don't waste your time trying to impress the wrong people, the people that don't matter. I learned very young about the people who matter. And it's something I learned in the first grade. My teacher was Miss Tanksley at H.P. Wilson. And me and the girl who sat next to me, like I was always real good in school. So I always finished my work fast. And, then I would talk to this girl. So I'm just assuming she finished too, because she got left back. Oh my goodness.
Damn.
Exactly. I got straight A's and an F in conduct. She got straight F's, I guess. I don't know. But she got left back. And she was like, girl, because we was always talking. You passed? I was like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
What? I was finished my work. But even though, my teacher didn't let me off, I still got an F in conduct. But even though she didn't let me off, I learned, she taught me how to use my intelligence to work for me and how not to, worry about impressing the little people. So, and that's something that stuck with me. And so everywhere I went when I was in student government when I was young, and I learned that people who are in power positions, they like big words, they like you to look nice, they like you to walk straight, really have a presence. And I learned that very, very young. Like I was in high school shopping at Petite and Sophisticated. Exactly, because I wanted to be like my mom. And I, you know what I mean? Like my mom always had presents to me. And so I learned that very, very young. And that does shape who I am today, even though I cuss.
We all do.
Exactly. Kyle, you don't cuss like us.
No.
And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's really like regular. It's our native tongue, really.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Ridiculous. So let's move on to sports and activities.
Hey.
That's you. I told you he was a football star. So he says.
Get your letters and your trophies out. So what did you do and what did it teach you?
I played football. I started playing football at the age of 8 years old, organized football.
Okay.
And what was weird was, and I'll never forget it. Like when I went to go, I told my parents that I wanted to play, and my mom, she wasn't really with it. She was like, you're gonna get hurt because I was small. I mean, like I was really, really small. And my dad was like, "Are you sure you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to play." And because I, just like any other kid playing in the neighborhood, and so the weight limit where I played was 60 pounds. Well, the problem was I only weighed 52 pounds. So my parents had to sign a waiver basically saying that they wouldn't sue the park if I got hurt. And
they signed it?
Yeah, they signed it. They were gonna have to sign it at that point because I was in. I was all in by that point. I was like, it wasn't no turning back at that point. But yeah, I played football and I played football from the age of 8 all the way through high school, through college at South Carolina State University. That's my alma mater. Shout out to HBCUs. And so football was my sport. I ran track in high school a little bit, but I ran track just to kind of stay in shape for football. But football was and I played baseball for 2 years. Now my dad will tell you, if he talks to you, he will tell you that he thinks that I would have been a better baseball player than I was football player. I don't think so because baseball baseball was dope. But the problem was at the age that I was playing baseball, I think I was like 12, 13. What happens is that, and you see it a lot, where for black kids, they stop playing because their friends stop playing. And so I looked around and I was like, there's only 2 coloreds on the team. I was like, okay. I was like, this ain't popping, and so baseball kind of fell to the wayside, but football has always been, it was always been there. So what did I learn from football? Honestly, I learned everything from football. Football taught me so much, and I think athletics in general will teach you a lot if you allow it to teach you. I mean, it taught me discipline. It taught me, self-love. It taught me how to work within a team frame. Taught me how to get along with people. And it just taught me the basic fundamentals of life that, you have to, if you work hard, it'll pay off. I mean, it's cliche, but
it's true.
Yeah, but it's true. And, you can't get anything. Football doesn't, it very much to me mirrors life. Like what you put into it is really what you get out of it. You can't practice. If you practice like shit, you're going to play like shit, so it's not, so I have a deeper level of appreciation for the game. And it taught me a lot. It taught me humility, because it's a humbling sport. It's a sport where, you can be, on top 1 minute and down the next minute. And, you have to kind of deal with the emotions of, I mean, you ladies know because you watch football and you're fans, the emotions of the game can overwhelm you at times if you let it, even just as for us as fans, because I'm also a fan of the game. You watch your favorite team and your level of emotions, you're up 1 minute and then you're down the next as you watch your team lose the game, so it taught me everything. It taught me time management. One of the biggest things. I had a coach, shout out to Coach Wells, who passed away, my high school football coach. He used to tell me, he said, you always have to have a respect for time. Time waits for no man. Yeah. So he instilled in us, like, look, if you got somewhere to be at 8 o'clock, you be there at 7:45. If you arrive on time, you're late. So that was the thing. So even now I'm a stickler for time. I like to be at work
on time.
on time.
2019's been good to me. I've been there on time too.
And I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right, Ryan.
So
Go ahead.
proud of you. So it taught me a lot. The game is changed a lot, obviously. And again, I'm a huge fan of football, and so my Saturdays and Sundays are spent, watching football a lot. But no, I love the game. It was good to me, and I took a lot I put a lot into football, but I took a lot from it as well. So it was really, really, it's a huge part of me.
Nice. I think playing sports and being in activities can teach you those things. And so it is important for like young people to get involved. When I was in high school, I was a cheerleader.
Okay.
And varsity. And
excuse me.
Yes, I was the captain,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I did it. I was also in the band, did that too.
What instrument did you play?
Tenor saxophone and the clarinet.
Nice.
I played the clarinet at first, elementary school and middle school, and then I moved on up to the tenor saxophone when I was in high school. And I also sang in school. I did a lot of activities in school. And those activities, much like you said, Kyle, taught me some of the same things. It definitely taught me how to be in a team setting. And it also taught me how to be a leader, because I had worked my way up to be a captain. And then I'm just naturally bossy. So even if I wasn't the captain, I would be, even if I wasn't the captain, I would have still been like the captain because, that's just my personality. Right. So it taught me how to be a leader and not a follower. And it taught me, I guess it didn't teach me time management skills, but back then I had time management skills. I was doing good. It was just when I moved to Virginia that it just went to shambles. I don't know what happened.
On Virginia.
It is. No, this is serious. It is serious. I was never late in New Jersey. Virginia has made me late. It's the traffic. But no, like I said, I think that sports and activities are very important, and it, much like you said, Kyle, has shaped me into the person that I was. Looking back on that time and just the camaraderie that you have with people, being in that setting. So it taught me how to get along with others, work well with others. I like to do things by myself, but it's, nothing like being on a team and being rewarded for that. So yeah, that's kind of what it taught me too. How about you, Bibbi?
I wish my story was as cushy and nice. I'm sitting here looking like,
Come on now, you did something, Bibbi. You did something.
I did a whole lot of things, but I'm just saying what it taught me was, I think that first of all, let me speak to your baseball thing because I like teachable moments. Do you know baseball is the only sport that did not successfully integrate? Black people were really into baseball when we had the Negro Leagues. But when they integrated baseball, it just did not work for us. And that's why they call it America's sport. But anywho,
it's true.
I was in the band as well, all 4 years of high school. I went to the Camden High School. We went to London, participated in the New Year's parade, bringing in the year 1990 on New Year's Day. Yes, 100
So
kids.
I take it you guys didn't go to high school together.
No, we did not. A, she's older than me. But B, I went to Woodrow Wilson High School. The Orange and Black Tigers. But
anywho.
Oh, this is so funny.
Anywho, that's nice for over there. Anyway, so I was in the band during football season, and I was a cheerleader during basketball season because, of course, you want to be able to get into all the games. And I feel like I got the rest of my life to be cute. I am not going to be out there in them football games freezing. It just was not going to happen. So I needed full uniform, spats, boots, helmets, all of that. And plus, we were like an entertainment band. It was a lot of fun. So I played the flute, not very well. Oh, wait, I played the drums in the 9th grade. I was all right. I played the flute in the 10th grade because our flute section was very small. Not very well.
Okay.
And 11th and 12th grade, I was the drum majorette.
Mm.
Thank you. So when we were in London, New Year's Day, 1990, marching down Westminster
Start on
Avenue,
them. Start on them,
the
baby.
Camden High School, the mighty purple and the gold. Anyway,
Oh my God.
I was also
I'ma
in
just be
student
quiet.
government.
Continue on.
I was also in student government, and I think of the things that I participated in high school, and I also worked while I was in high school. So, but the thing I liked most was student government, and I learned that I participated in the band and cheerleading because I thought it was the right thing to do. That's what the popular people were doing. My best friend is very, 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 very popular. Me, not so much. They just know me because of her. We were always like together, and I just kind of thought that was the thing to do.
Okay.
And what I learned was you can always get by. I learned that, when you don't have to be excellent, mediocre will be acceptable. And I really didn't like that. And I enjoyed student government because I was always good at like problem solving and talking to people, negotiations and things like that. The leadership kind of things. And so I learned then that I wanted to do something with influence.
Mm.
Okay.
So that's what, my high school participations taught me. Again, the Camden High School class of 1991. Thank you.
I forgot to mention, and when Maya said it, I did kind of went back to it. I was actually in the honors chorus in high school
Oh,
for 4 years. And don't ask me to sing because I'm not going to sing. But so we had a real quick story. We had a game. We were supposed to have tryouts for all-state chorus. And all-state chorus, you go and you, like I sang, bass. And so they pair you with a tenor, alto, and a soprano, and they give you this piece that you've never seen. So you have to sight read it. And, if you do well, and you're scored by a panel of judges. If you do well, then you make all-state chorus. And so we had auditions that Saturday. Well, the night before, we had a game, and we're killing this team, and I'm having a good game, and something happened, and I was on the punt team, and this guy hit me, and he hit, and the guy was smaller than me, which is relatively small, so he hit me, and he hurt my jaw. So my jaw was hurting. So I was like, it wasn't broken or anything. It was just really, really sore. And so I really wasn't trying to talk too much after the game. And then I had to audition the next day for all-state chorus. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to sing because even just opening my mouth just slightly was killing me. I had to take painkillers. And I don't like taking medicine. Well, yours truly goes to the audition, kills it, and makes all-state chorus.
Well, look at you, Kyle.
With a bad jaw.
Killed it.
That's my story.
With a bad jaw, you was out there singing damn tenor.
Yep.
And
Got
you
it
must
done.
have
You
learned,
like a
you learned
Renaissance
that from
man.
football. That's
Yeah.
right. You got take one for the team. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and do it.
You never know until you try.
Sing injured. Go ahead, Kyle.
Offline, I need to hear the song. Just saying.
She is so serious.
I cannot remember the name of that song. It was a classical piece, I think, but it was something we hadn't seen before because they try to give you sheet music that that you can't practice. So they just want to see if you can read music, basically, because most people can sing, but they sing by ear, but they can't sing and read. So
Right. But damn, you
talented,
you,
right?
you a smarty ass type. Oh, okay.
I was supposed to say the same thing.
I did a few
Kyle,
things.
Okay, so tell me this, Kyle. When did you first feel like a grown up?
Whew, man, grown up. Had to been the fall of 1993. I was at South Carolina State University. Came home one weekend, and my mom handed me the keys to the car, and she was like, "You can take it back." I was like, "Word, I could take this car to school." I mean, because in South Carolina, I think the driving age was, I think I got my license at 15, but I remember driving at 13. But I was just driving like around the
13.
corner. Yeah, 13. But that was just like going around because you know your mom sent you around the corner to get some cigarettes or
And
some
you around
liquor.
the corner illegal? Okay.
So, and again, now I grew up in a place, Florence, South Carolina. It wasn't like, you know, it's a heavy populated place. So it's not like, you know, you're going to, you know, it's not like I had to cross over the expressway just to go where I was going. So you could literally drive in your neighborhood and, you know, be fine, not have to worry about police or anything like that. So, so yeah, I was, when she gave me the keys, that was the first time that so I'd driven before, so that wasn't a problem. I drove, you know, in high school, whatever, but I never had my own car. But it was what was it, like a 1987 Nissan Sentra. It was light blue, Carolina blue, and came home and she gave me the keys and she was like, "You can take it back." I was like, "Word." She was like, "Look, let me tell you something. Don't let nobody drive your car."
Right.
Nobody. I mean, nobody. I don't. She was like, "I don't care if your friends need a ride." She's like, "You want to take them somewhere, you take them." She was like, "But don't let nobody drive your car." So, so yeah, that's the first time I said what?
Who'd you let drive the car?
It's funny you ask because I did let a young lady drive my car because you know she had to. I don't know what she was doing, but she was like, you know, "Can I get your car? I want to go somewhere." Me and my friends going there. Her and her friends were going somewhere to eat, right? And I think I had gotten out of football practice. I was in the dorm, and next thing I know, you know, I get a phone call. I'm thinking she's calling me to let me know that she's back on campus. She calls and tells me that she had an accident. And I said, "Well, what happened?" I said, "You okay?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She was like, "But the car," she said, "I think I broke the axle." I was like, "How'd you manage to break the axle?" She was like, "You know, I hit the curb." She was like, "I was turning the curb and I hit the curb. You know, I turned too quick and hit the curb." And so I was like, "Damn, an axle." So I'm thinking, okay, I'm starting to do the numbers in my head. Like this is gonna at that time it's gonna cost me like $250, maybe $300. And I had, I mean, I'm a college student. I ain't got no money. And so I'm like, my mom is going to kill me. Because the last thing she said to me before she gave me those keys was, "Do not let anybody drive your car." And this was, so I got the car in 93. This happened in 95, right? And so the girl, so I ended up, you know, I got some money from somewhere. I won't mention it because of NCAA violations.
Right.
I got the money from somewhere and paid for it, right? And my mom never knew about it. And the girl, you know, she never paid me back, but you know, she did.
Was you dating this girl?
Yeah, this is my girlfriend.
You know what?
We're married now, so it's okay.
Oh.
She still owed me that money though.
That's right.
First of all, you better had married her because I was going to say a man's downfall is always a woman. Your mom said, "Don't let nobody drive the car." Not only did you let her drive it, you wasn't even in the car with her.
Right. And she took her girls.
Yeah. I mean, they're like 5 people, my little Central.
The things that y'all would do for us. Adam bit that apple. He wasn't hungry.
And let me tell you, a woman will. Y'all are so it's the gift and the curse, man.
Yeah,
gotta understand.
Like y'all are to us. We get it.
I mean, you can't live with them, can't live without them. So you know, but it's all love. I mean, but I for a long time I didn't tell my mom. I don't even think I think I told my mom after we got married.
I would have.
The car was long gone. She was like, "Okay, well, I told you not to let nobody drive." So yeah, that was so that was the time where I felt like a grown up. When I got the keys and then being able to pay for an accident that I didn't have with money that I didn't know how I was going to get. So yeah, I felt like
grown up shit.
Yeah, that's
you worrying about a bill. You worrying about how that money gonna come in. Like, oh, when that come in, we gotta get oodles and noodles.
Right.
I can't, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's real grown up shit.
Yeah. So let me think. Listen, I tell you this all the time. The first time I felt like a grown up was in 1998 when I had to buy my first bra.
I can't believe she's told this story. Because
that was the time. Let me tell you something. That was the time where I felt like it's all downhill from here. I was never one of those kids growing up who was like, oh, I want to be grown. I want to be grown. I want to be grown, because I knew what it took to be grown. You
Mm.
know, I knew you was going to have less money. I knew you were going to have more responsibility. And so I just never was one of those type of kids growing up. I wanted somebody to take care of me. You know, I was living in luxury.
You
And what I
were.
mean by luxury was, you know, my grandmother cooked, my mom cooked, you know, my grandmother did our
Your
laundry.
grandpop took y'all
My
everywhere.
grandpa took us everywhere. I didn't have to get on a bus. You know, like I was living it up. Do you hear me?
Mm.
Even when I went to college, my mom, we had moved, and my mom would be like, oh, you coming home? And I was like, I'm going to grandmom's house. We had cable, you know, like at my mom's house, we didn't have that. So I was like, yeah, I'm going over here. Like I got washer and dryer, a
I know
big
that's right.
screen, meals cooked. You know what I'm saying? And we wasn't eating, we was eating good stuff, not bull crap. So I was like living it up. And even though I worked since I was 14, because in my mind, I always wanted to have my own money, but I didn't want to spend my money. You know, it was good that other people were doing stuff for me. But the first time when I went to college and I needed a bra, and I was like, damn, let me go to the store. And when I see how much bras cost, I said, what in the heck is going on? Why does this cost so much? And anyway, I brought it. And that was when I first felt like it's literally all downhill from here.
Mm.
This was 20 some dollars. I'm going to have to spend another 20 some dollars to buy this again. And I've been
Mhm.
paying bills ever since, and it sucks. That was literally the first time that I felt like a grown up.
I just want to say that the longer we go into these questions and stuff, the more I feel separate from society, because y'all really got me thinking I'm a weirdo. I think that for me, growing up, I didn't think about things as like, first of all, I've been an adult since I was 13. But I didn't think of it as adulting. I think that, I always thought like life was a growth process. People, when you can get working papers, you work, you pay bills,
Right.
whatever bills you have at that age. And it was just like, I didn't think of it as adulting. I just thought it was like the progression of life. That's just what happens. You know what I mean? So I've worked since I was 13. I moved away from home the summer between the seventh and eighth grade, never been back home.
Mm.
So I always kind of paid my way through life. I was married, had children. Even when I was married and had children, I just felt like, this is life. And I'm gonna tell you, and I've been in my house now for 10 years. When did we move? 2008. So
Mhm.
I'm coming up on 11 years.
Okay.
So I remember when we were getting ready for Thanksgiving, I called my aunt, and we're getting the menu together, and I was like, hey auntie, whatever, okay, what you want me to bring? Now mind you, I am grown with my own home, two children, whatever. And she was like, oh, you can make the yams. What?
Right. Like I got
What? I just was looking at the phone like, what?
I can't believe I gotta make something.
Not yet. First of all, I have to cook something. And secondly, it's like an important part of the meal.
Yes, the
Like
Mm-hmm.
yams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking around at my house, and I was in the kitchen. I will never forget it. I was standing at the island, and I was just like, yams?
right.
And then it was like something came over me that I never cooked in my life. Like, well, how many yams do I buy?
Right.
Look at what goes in yams. How do you make yams? Do I bake the yams? Do I get like how do I get the? Oh my gosh, what if they don't like the yams?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
But you know,
everybody's
it was
gonna eat
like,
those yams.
right.
First of all, you have no idea how my family is. Like oh my gosh, these people.
We
I
would
was
have be screamed out across the table, like, yo,
Yeah,
you
and
make
you'd have never
jams.
forgot it, like ever. Exactly. So,
Mm.
and that's when I was like, first of all, if we still had Thanksgiving like we used to, I would still be at the kiddie table, and I'm making yams. Like,
Mm.
oh, this is some bullshit. Like, this is exactly. And I felt that's when I felt like I'm Aunt Kathy and them. Like, I'm a
Wow.
grown up. And yeah, that's when I was like, oh no, this is crazy. So I think ever since then I started adapting the term like adulting. Now I really realize like what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm certified now. I done made yams and I've
Well,
had a
how did the
reason.
yams come out? Did they come out
The
okay?
yams are good. The
Okay,
yams are
okay.
good. They
From
let
what I
me.
remember,
I was about to
the
ask
yam.
Maya.
Listen, from what I remember, the yam. She's still coming to Thanksgiving dinner, so
Okay.
the yams
Exactly. I
had
was
to be
about to say
decent
they let me get yams.
because if they wasn't
Right,
good,
right, right. She wouldn't have been invited
I
back.
said that story on the podcast long ago. Like, remember that year when you made them yams and they was messed up?
Uh,
Hmm. So they was decent, Kyle. They was decent.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, and I saw your IG story. Y'all have a good time.
We
Y'all like
do.
Yeah, we
y'all
do.
get down, and and from what I could tell, y'all look like the kind of family that's not gonna hold back if the yams ain't hitting.
Let
Oh,
me tell
we
you
ain't.
something. Let me tell
We
you
ain't.
something. Let me tell you something. And do something. And won't it come up every time? Every time we see
Every,
you, every
every time
gathering,
Running
like
joke. It's a
we
running
could be
joke.
at the dentist, it'd be like, remember that year you made them damn nasty yams, girl? Yeah, that's how we are. It
Oh,
is.
it's funny.
Yeah, so we have two more. And
Okay.
let's just run them together. So, falling in love for the first time and your first heartbreak.
Oh man. Falling in love for the first time. Man, she was brown skinned. She had dimples. She weighed about
Hey.
a pound. I would throw her in the air and catch her and run. I would tuck her. You know, I'm talking about
Skylar.
football. I'm talking
Yes.
I thought you were talking about Skylar.
about. uh, no. Skylar's a different kind of love. That oh my gosh, that I the love for Skylar is it's really hard to put into words. That is
Oh,
and that's my daughter for those
I,
listening.
uh,
She's 7 at the time of this recording. And I guess for me, the love that you have, the love that you have for your parents and is different, and the love that you have for your kids is different. But I've always kind of admired, women who have, great relationships with their fathers. And that's what I always wanted to aspire to have. And then when we finally had a daughter, because she's the last one, that's what I want. And we have a great relationship. And she just she melts my heart. I mean,
Oh,
she is something else. Now she understands that she runs me.
right.
So,
I know.
so I mean, like a perfect example. Like a couple of days ago, she was like, "Daddy, I think we should have some ice cream after dinner." And I was like, "Well, Skylar, we don't need any ice cream." And I was like, "We don't have any." She was like, "We can go to the store and get some." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Skylar, it's cold outside. We really don't need any ice cream." She was like, "Well, I think we should have some." And she just kept saying, she was just like, "I think we should have some. I think it would be nice. And you haven't had some in a while." And I'm like, "Where's this little girl going with all of this?" And next thing you know,
To the store.
She
guess
going
who's
to
in
the
the store
store.
getting some damn
Right.
ice cream.
Exactly.
So, but no, my first love was, it was football. I mean, it's kind of weird to say that, and people always kind of look kind of crazy when you say that. But yeah, that was the first thing that I fell in love with. It was just, and I still have a love for football. So it's just, it's something magical. So football was there long before any girls came. The first girl I can think I was just really crazy about. I'm not gonna say her name because she might listen to this,
Mm.
but she was really really nice, and we were really good friends. And this was like the first girl that I can remember was just like crazy about me, and I was crazy about her. And I'll never forget, like we had a school dance in the 8th grade, and
That was
and
fast.
so we was
Oh, nice.
so we were slow dragging, and I never forget. Freddie Jackson came on, and
Ooh.
yeah, and so I slid my hand down, grabbed her ass, and
Ooh.
it was
Where was the chaperones at this party? Oh my
here
goodness.
you one step ahead of me. Miss Johnson, who was one of the chaperones, she came and she removed my hands from her ass, and and so she was like, "Don't you do that again, young man." And and I remember just that night, like we kissed on the dance floor, and it was really really cool. And I mean, like we slobbed on the dance floor. So
At the eighth grade?
Where
in the
was Miss
8th grade, yeah,
Johnson? What happened
that
to
was
Miss
like my
Johnson?
first slob, man. So
Miss
and she
Johnson must
had
have been getting punched. I don't know what is going on.
so then so here's the funny part. So that night I was just like so amped. I was just like on cloud 9. And I went home, And, typical little boy, didn't shower or anything, just went straight to bed. And like my girl, she had a jerry curl. And so I laid down, and when I laid down, I went to sleep. And the next morning, I had like some Activate on my face, and my face was stuck to the pillowcase. So I had to peel my face off my pillow the next morning.
You had the soul glow going on.
Yeah.
And you was happy about it too.
Oh, I was happy. I mean, I was happy. I mean, I was in 8th grade busting slobs on the dance floor with Freddie Jackson. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
And we were really, really cool and just really good friends. And she was like the first girl I can remember just really was just crazy about me. And I was just crazy about her. And we would get on the phone and we would talk for long periods of time. And but yeah, that was like the first little, first one to kind of warm up your boy's socks, So.
And what about your first heartbreak?
Heartbreak. That one's interesting. I got to go back to football. It happened on the football field. Just long story short, we had this game that we were winning. No, we were actually behind, and so we're down by 5 points, and we were driving the ball down the field. So we're going. I catch a pass, and I get out of bounds, and the clock is against us. So the time is winding down. Okay, so then we had their defense on their heels, basically. And so coach called a timeout, called up a play. And this play, the ball is coming to me. I know it's coming to me. So I'm running a post pattern. So what I'm doing is I'm going across I'm going deep across the middle. Mm-hmm. And so quarterback snaps the ball. I'm running, and Maya, Bibbi, I am wide open. I mean, ain't nobody around me. Ain't nobody. I mean, the guy who was guarding me fell down, right? So I'm wide open. So the quarterback sees me and he throws it. And when I say that ball it was like everything was just in slow motion. Everything was in slow motion. And I was just about to catch it, from the other team stepped in front of it and intercepted the pass. And I'm literally in the end zone and I fall down, and I ain't even try to get up and tackle him. I was just, I was and they won it because it was only like 40 seconds left in the game. So after that, the game was over. And I'm not the emotional type, but when I say I cried after
that's right.
God. I was hurt. That was like the first heartbreak. That was that one was tough. Didn't have any girl heartbreaks until later on in life. But that one, and you know what, to be honest, that still bothers me to this day.
We could tell. You told that story. You was like, me too. I was like, I felt like I was watching it.
And and the salt in the wound was I get to South Carolina State University, and I actually meet the guy who intercepted the pass. He's actually there on a basketball scholarship, and we got to be real. Both of us were business majors. We got to be real cool. But and he, so every time he would see me, when he found out I was from Florence and I went to Wilson High School, we talk about it. And so I still don't, it's not a fond memory, but I got over it, I think.
Maya would have seen him on campus and been like, bitch.
Right. Oh, shout out to Miguel. Miguel's cool though. He's cool.
Yeah, because I'm not that forgiving, but
I mean, he was doing his job.
He's just playing the game. Exactly.
It's just one of those things. But I took that hard. Like, I mean, I went home. I cried all the way home. I ain't want to talk to nobody. My girlfriend
crying.
And I don't cry. And I don't, like I said, stuff doesn't bother me like that to the point where I'm brought to tears. But yeah, I was hurt.
Well, remember what Mr. Newsit positive.
Maya, wasn't nothing positive about that. We took the L. The positive is that I walked off the field in good health. That's about as good as I could be, because everything else is downhill.
When I think about my first love, I say my first love had to be when I was 12 years old.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. We know.
I was 12 years old. He was in the range of older, And when I say older, I mean
how much older?
Like my god sister be like, he was 27. He wasn't 27, but he was definitely 20, 21, 22.
23, 24.
So listen, his name was Nick. Tall. He was like a light brown. He was everything. I mean, he looked good with a T at the back of it. And every day I would walk to this Chinese store on 28th Street from school, and I would get an egg roll and a Mystic.
Damn.
We get an egg roll and a Mystic, extra duck sauce. And so every time I walked out, me and my girls, I would look across the street. He would smile. I would smile. And then, we would giggle like schoolgirls. Oh my God, did you see Nick? Did you see Nick? Well, one day, and I loved him like a deep down in your soul love, right? I would dream about him, just think about him like he was everything. So one day I went to the Chinese store. I walked in to get my egg roll and Mystic. When I came out, who was standing there? Nick. But this day he was like, "Hey, Slim, let me get a sip of that Mystic." And I was like, "This Mystic?" And he was like, "Yeah." So I sashayed my little ass across the street, and I was like, "Here." I wasn't scared. I just put it out there, put it to him. And his ass took a sip of the Mystic. Listen, when he took a sip of that Mystic, I thought that I was just going to pass out right there. But I didn't. I kept my cool. And I was like, "You like that?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Thanks." And I was like, "No problem." We walked off. When I got around the corner, oh my God. I saved that Mystic bottle until I was about 16.
Wow.
Definitely till I was about 16. Then I was like, because my girlfriend was like, "You going to throw it away?" And I was like, "Hell no." He drunk out of, like, I could not believe that he drunk out of that bottle. So all the time, I thought I was his girlfriend. Like, you drunk out of a Mystic bottle, we go together. You know what I'm saying? And he used to have this girlfriend named Myra, and I hated her. I didn't know. I didn't know this girl. I did not know this girl. I hated her. I was like, she want to be me, B. That B wanted, because by that time I was cussing. So I was like, that B want to be me. Her name is Myra, like Maya, and that's because he really want to be with me, but he's stuck. I was like, It was a thing. That was my first love. My first heartbreak was probably him too, because I went back around there one day and he wasn't there. He had got locked up, right?
Oh, wow.
But I didn't know. I just knew I wasn't seeing him no more. And I was going there every day with my egg roll and my Mystic. And after a while, the egg roll wasn't good and the Mystic wasn't good because I wasn't seeing him. Then I found out he was locked up and I was like, I should write him. He need me right now. He needs me. You know what I mean? He going through something. He need me to be there for him because Myra probably ain't doing shit. So that probably was my first heartbreak. Damn.
Wow.
I'm saying is this is how you know that you grow up. This is how you know you're grown up, because like just hearing when she tells this story, I just be like, so you ain't think it was nothing wrong with Nick being in his 20s, hanging out at the Chinese store every day? I'm just saying.
First of all, he lived.
That's where the weight got dropped off at.
Right. He lived 2 doors down. He was outside in his neighborhood. Now the man can't be outside of his neighborhood.
After school, why wasn't he working?
He was working.
He was working that corner.
He was working. First of all, don't talk about him. I loved him at the time. I loved him. But let me tell y'all, I look back at him. I seen a picture of him not too long ago. I look back, I was like, I dodged a bullet with that one.
Oh, man. Really?
Ladies and gentlemen, we found out that Nick went on to become a rapper. He gave up the drug game for the rap game.
Right. So that was my first love and my first heartbreak. What about you, Bib?
I don't know if I ever fell in love.
What?
I
was married.
I don't know if I ever.
You've been in love.
I have, but it was after I was married. It was after I was married, and I knew it was love because, like, literally, if I didn't see him or we weren't talking or something, I would really like feel nauseous. Yes, it was like I really felt physical pain, and Yeah, I really love that dude. It felt like, physically painful at the time, the breakup or whatever. But I think my first heartbreak really was, now when I was young, I didn't have, the great self-esteem that I have today.
Okay.
I just, I was skinny, still wearing undershirts in high school. I sucked my fingers until like yesterday. So I felt like I had buck teeth. And, so I wasn't really like, I didn't have a whole lot of self confidence. But my sister used to always tell me, like, what is wrong with you? You're pretty, you're pretty. And I'd be like, oh, they keep calling me pretty. They teasing me. And she'd be like, shut up. You're dumb. You are pretty. And I was like, no, I'm not, whatever. But boys tended to like me. And I really didn't know how to like deal with that because I was still a tomboy and all this other kind of stuff. So, but I remember when I got to high school and I liked a boy and he didn't like me.
Mm.
It fucked me up. I really could not process that. Like, clearly he don't see me. What is going on?
What is wrong with him?
Exactly. And I mean, really, I think I did some things that like may have really been embarrassing to get his attention or whatever. But yeah, like he gave me like no play. And I was devastated. Like, I can't even believe this.
Where is he now?
Looking like a mole, child.
Exactly.
He too became a rapper.
Right.
Oh my gosh. It was like devastating. And he graduated with Mickey.
Okay.
And like every year our family goes down to Wildwood for that convention thing that we go down there for, and we saw him down there, and Mickey was hollering like, "Hey!" I wasn't gonna say nothing. He was with his family and all that other kind of stuff, whatever. I wasn't gonna say nothing. And Mickey, she was like, "Hey!"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh my God, hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, like, hey, how you doing? I can't believe I liked you.
Exactly, but that really was crushing. I blame all the boys that liked me before because they really had me all pumped up. Like, I really couldn't believe it.
Well, that was his loss. That was his loss because
about that. You right about that. All right, this is the last question.
Okay.
This is it. How is your life today compared to what you thought it would be?
Oh, that's a great question. I think when I look back on it, like, for example, like my parents were together up until I was 13. So, and then they got divorced. And so I grew up in a house with a mother and father, at least in my formative years, basically. So I envisioned myself, having a wife. I knew I'd have a son. I just knew that off the bat. But I just knew that, like, that was basically going to take place, that I was going to get married and have a son, and I would work. I didn't, unlike a lot of kids, I didn't have like the aspirations of, going to the NFL or anything like that. I love playing ball, and I knew that I wanted to get married, work, and live in New York City. And that's all that I wanted to do. I didn't like think beyond that. I wanted to be a veterinarian because I love animals. I hate science though. So
well, already then.
But I didn't realize that at like 7, I just knew snakes were dope. So, but I guess it's pretty much played out the way that I probably thought it would. I didn't. If you would have told me at 8 that I'd be married and living in Atlanta and have 4 kids, I was like, 4 kids? Who's having 3 boys and a girl? Who's doing that? But they are, my heartbeat. So that goes without saying. But I think it's kind of played out the way that I probably thought it would. I knew I'd be doing something. I knew I'd be working and having a career. I didn't know what that would be. I never thought I'd get into the financial field. But honestly, I think it's pretty much played out the way that I thought it would back then. But, when you're young, we weren't necessarily encouraged to think. You had to think beyond the next day, but you didn't think about your 5 or 10 or 15 year or 20-year plan. So you just kind of took it day by day. And, I wanted to see things better, particularly coming from the South. I wanted to see things better for me and my people. And, I got got a chance to see a black president.
Mm-hmm.
And I also got a chance to see this country go backwards, so,
Yes.
we've seen a lot and we've been through a lot. And, but I think from my childhood, I would definitely say it's really panned out the way, actually, it's better. It's probably better than I thought it would be.
Nice.
So, yeah, I definitely have to say that.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that your life panned out the way that you thought it was going to be.
I'm listening.
Well, I am, because
I'm not a veterinarian,
Maya,
though,
like,
Maya. I'm not a veterinarian, though.
Oh.
Yeah, but you know what? You are what you were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? You're and look at all of the things that you are besides a veterinarian. You work in the finance field. You are a blogger, a podcaster. A hip hop historian,
Yes.
a former football player. So you got a lot going on other than being a veterinarian. You could be a born veterinarian sitting at home.
Right.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So your life is right where it should be. And that's what I try to think about when I think about where my life is right now, because it ain't nothing like I thought it was going to be. And it's crazy. It's nothing like I thought it would be, but everything that I thought it would be.
Right. And that's how it's supposed to be.
Right. So I definitely, growing up, did not think, I was not one of the little girls that thought about marriage and kids and none of that. I never planned out my wedding. I knew that I probably would get married and I probably would have kids, but it wasn't something that was like, oh yeah, it's like a fairy tale. It wasn't like that to me. I always wanted to be living in a high-rise apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows, wearing fashionable suits, carrying a dope-ass briefcase, making a lot of money and traveling. So I'm not married. I don't have children. It'll probably come, but it's not something that I aspired to then, and it's not necessarily something that I aspire to now. And I feel like if it's in the will of the Lord, it'll be what it is.
True indeed.
I do a lot of traveling, so that's something that I always knew that I was going to do. Career-wise, no, I don't do anything near what I thought I was going to do. I definitely thought I was going to be working in advertising or at a big corporation, and I don't. And that's great because I've been in the corporate world and it's not for me. But yeah, I say it's everywhere I didn't think it was going to be, but everywhere that I knew it would be, because while I'm not living that specific life, I'm living the life that I should be living, and all of the things that I wanted were things obviously that I didn't need or I don't need yet. And if I do need them, then they're coming. And so, yeah, my life compared to what I thought it would be, it's not, but it's not a bad life. I'll say that.
Preach.
But in 2019, I better get my damn boyfriend, because in 2018, I was supposed to get him and I didn't. And where are you at?
Right.
I need this trash taken out.
He's listening to this podcast.
All right.
And she's wearing red pajamas.
How about you, Bib?
Hilarious.
My life is nothing like I imagine. I never, like you, Maya, I never dreamed of that wedding day. I never wanted children. I knew that was like a conscious decision. Like, I never wanted children. I always wanted to be a very smart housewife. And people always say, well, how are you going to be a housewife when you don't have any children? I was like, hence the term housewife.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if I got married, and I think I looked at marriage more like a partnership. And if I got married, my husband was just always going to be like a super achiever. And I was going to be that smart, entertaining person to help him get to where he's going. That's just something I did not want to go to college. I wanted, right after high school, I thought I was on my way. I was like, I'm just going to sign up for the service, do my bid, because I worked since I was 13. I always liked buying my own stuff. I've never been a big shopper, but on my way to work, I worked like right outside of the mall. And so I would take the bus and I would have to walk through the mall to get to my job. And so if I saw something that I liked in a store, it'd be payday, I would go back, get that outfit. Like, that's what I want. It didn't matter how much it costs. And, and I always liked that feeling, being able to get what I want and do what I want. So I think that clearly that is not what the Lord had in store for me, because not only did I get married young and I have children, but I have a son with special needs. And that has changed my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
because everything, my whole life, literally, everything that I am not, and I will always say, like, Lord, because I'm a Sagittarian and we are like fly by the seat of our pants kind
Yes,
of
we
people.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Y'all are flighty.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
flighty,
we do.
but it's like, we can roll with the punches. Today we want to do this, but we ain't not going to be locked in, because tomorrow a better opportunity will come and we'll do that. We'll talk to the person about the other thing. I'll get to it when I get back. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fabulous. Like all kinds of stuff like that. And that's the way I think. I have a very, very active and creative mind. But this boy has kept me grounded. I
Mm-hmm.
don't regret anything. I love my children, but I think even now I am doing things now to pursue the life that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
because my children are grown. I feel like I've done my job. I did a great job. My children can take care of themselves. Jiggy is fine. But yeah, I just thought that I would be jet setting here, there, everywhere, buying this, entertaining corporate people so that my husband can get this deal and broker that deal. And that's just what I thought I would be doing. But now I'm a nurse. Like, oh my gosh. Isn't that something?
But you know, it is something because we're the three of us. We're blessed.
Hmm.
If for no other reason, we're blessed because we have lives that we got a chance to see. And
Hmm.
we're probably 1,000 people that we can think of that did not get the opportunity to see what we can see. And so
Exactly.
even though we may not necessarily be in a rush to get to that job, the fact that we're up and air is in our lungs and blood is in our
Right.
veins,
Hmm.
we really ain't got much to complain about.
At all.
You are absolutely correct. And nothing wraps up the show quite like that. Kyle, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me in the club. No, let me stop. Let me stop. You can catch me hanging out on the Twitter streets every now and then, I guess. You can follow me on Twitter at 12 Kyle, the number 12 Kyle. You can check out the podcast. It's called the 12 Kyle Podcast. Talk about a lot of different things. Don't want to talk about a lot of sports. Talk about relationships, people, music. I'm a huge hip hop fan. Talk about a little bit of everything. The podcast can be found on all platforms where podcasts are free. So, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, you name it, it's there. So check it out.
Yeah, make sure that you check out the 12 Kyle podcast. That's our boy, and he drops knowledge each and every week. And when do you drop an episode, Kyle? Let them know that.
Oh, the podcast comes out every Thursday at midnight. That's when it comes out. So I make sure that I have a podcast coming out each week. So, and like I said, it really depends on what I feel like talking about that particular week. But I don't do any current events. So the cool thing about my podcast is that you can pick any podcast and just listen to it. And I mean, it's not dated. So it's not, I don't, I'm not talking about the dude in the White House. I'm not talking about what happened on Love and Hip Hop. And the cool part about it for me is that I listen to other podcasts so I can keep abreast as to what's going on.
Mhm.
But as far as current events, but I keep it fresh. It's not anything that's dated. So, but every Thursday, that's when the podcast drops.
Yeah, so be sure to check out 12 Kyle on his show. Kyle, we want to thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you
being our
for having
special
me.
guest.
I
I'm
feel
glad
so
that we was
special.
finally able to make this happen. Yeah, it was great. Remember, y'all can follow us on social media. We are everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. Remember that you can follow me on my personal Twitter. It's my13. That's MYMY13.
And I'm at Bibbi Amina. That's Bibbiamina.
Remember that we drop an all new episode each and every Monday, and you can also find us anywhere where you can listen to your free podcast. Like Bibby said in the intro, we are on iTunes, we are on Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, anywhere where you can listen to a podcast. You can surely find We Did That Shit. We'll be here same time next week.
Remember, be great this week. Do that shit.
Yes.
I love you, Maya.
Love you too.
Hey, I love that.
Oh.